What's going on, everybody? It's Afro Think Tank. Did y'all know the first Mexican was black? The first Mexican was black. The first city created by Africans in the Western Hemisphere was created by an African from Gabon. An African royal. Shit, I didn't even know that. I knew there were black people who were enslaved and sent to Mexico. I knew that the first president of Mexico was black. I knew that the person that liberated Mexico from the Spaniards was black. So all Mexicans should be kissing the ass and praising black folk. But they don't. They do the exact opposite. They don't even recognize they're black people. But it seems that this new generation of Mexican, right, are starting to change the narrative and tell the true history of Mexico and how it is that they exist. And so, well, I don't want to butcher any names, so I'm not even going to say the dude's name. I made the video so you guys can say his name, because I don't want to disrespect him. But I think Mexicans need to start putting more respect in this black folks' name and giving us our credit for creating their country. Because be honest, before we got there, the Spaniards and the Portuguese were just whipping their ass, enslaving those native Indians and taking all their shit. But then when they brought us African warriors there, we decided, we was going to unite with you native Indians. We was going to put a battery in your back, and we was collectively going to kick their ass. And that's what happened. And that's why Mexico exists. So without further ado, let's dive into this information so we all can be a little bit smarter today than we were yesterday. Anyway, tell me what you guys think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Meet Gaspar Yanga, the African slave who created a state in Mexico. Born on May 14, 1545, Yanga, a member of the royal family in Gabon, was sold into slavery in Mexico. Around 1570, Yanga led a band of slaves and escaped to a highland near Veracruz during the Spanish colonial rule. They built a Maroon colony. Yanga and other slaves resisted an attack of the Spanish army in 1609. He later negotiated an agreement with Spain for self-rule of the Maroon settlement. The settlement later became known as San Lorenzo de los Negros. In the 19th century, Yanga was named a national hero of Mexico, and the settlement was renamed Yanga in 1932 in his honor. Thanks for joining us today. This is African History TV.
How many of y'all seen this man before? He's known as the first liberator of the Americas. Gaspar Yanga was captured and sold into slavery in Mexico. Around 1570, he led a band of slaves escaping into the mountains near Veracruz. This is one of the first what they call Maroon communities, which spread all across the Caribbean and South America. And y'all don't want to hear this, but to be honest, they survived by robbing people. They stole goods from caravans traveling from Veracruz to Mexico City. It was bipping before the bay. Everybody could get it. Because how you going to tell somebody stealing is wrong when they just stole back their freedom, their body, their lives, their time, their energy? Man, hundreds of slaves were fleeing to this Maroon community. They started calling it San Lorenzo de los Negros. But things changed when they started robbing the haciendas, or the wealthy landowners, and the port. All of a sudden, rumors started spreading that the Maroons were going to have an uprising, killing all the white people, and put a black king in place. So in 1609, the Spanish colonial government said, enough is enough. We're going to try to get this territory back. Man, the Maroons watched them every time, killed their soldiers, robbed their port, crippled their economy. The Spaniards then tried to burn the forest. But they couldn't compete with the Maroons, who just knew the terrain so much better than them. Let the Spaniards tell it it ended in a stalemate. But in reality, they accepted all of the terms of Yanga's treaty. The Maroon community would be acknowledged by the Spanish government and allowed to self-rule. But if the Spanish were attacked, they would fight with them. And the Maroons would return any slaves now fleeing to their territory. Over 250 years later, Gaspar Yanga was designated a national hero in Mexico because the grandson of Mexico's first president with African roots uncovered all this research on him. I told y'all this is not your textbook history.
In honor of Black History Month, let's talk about the first Black town in all of the Americas, and Gaspar Yanga. Gaspar Yanga's story isn't just about resilience, it's about triumph. He led one of the most successful uprisings against Spanish rule and founded the first free Black town in the Americas in current-day Mexico. This is how he did it. Gaspar Yanga was likely born around 1545, possibly of royal lineage in West Africa. Captured and forced into slavery, he was transported to New Spain, which is present-day Mexico. Around 1570, he led a daring escape with a group of fellow enslaved people and vanished into the mountains. There, they established a hidden community, one free from Spanish rule. This defiance made them a direct threat to the Spanish colonial system. And in 1609, Spanish authorities sent a well-equipped militia to crush Yanga's settlement. After days of fighting, the Spanish realized they could not win. Yanga, ever the strategist, used his moment to negotiate. Yanga's terms were clear. His people would remain free, their town would be officially recognized, and they would be governing themselves without Spanish oversight. In 1618, the town of San Lorenzo was officially recognized. This was the first free town in all of the Americas. Over time, San Lorenzo was renamed Yanga in honor of the founder. In 1871, Mexico officially recognized Gaspar Yanga as a national hero, calling him El Primer Liberador de América, the first liberator of the Americas. Gaspar Yanga's story is one of strength, strategy, and survival. Who else should I talk about next? Let me know below.
This is the only man you will ever hear me idolize, Gaspar Yanga. Afro-Latino Gaspar Yanga, better known as the first liberator of the Americas, was a former enslaved African in Mexico who led a revolt against the Spanish with little to no resources, living in the mountains using guerrilla warfare.
He was also of royal blood, and he is the most interesting man to have ever lived.
They tried to erase him, but the mountains kept his name. Gaspar Yanga, chained, hunted, never broken. He vanished into the jungle and returned with an army. Spain sent fire and steel. Yanga sent them back in pieces. For 30 years he ruled free land. Black land. His land. He didn't ask for peace. He demanded it. On his terms. They called him a slave. But history remembers he was a legend. They tried to erase.
En México siempre han existido indios negros y se les llamaba negros costachicanos. Y Gaspar Yanga no era africano, sino un nativo de México. Durante la esclavitud de los negros, Gaspar Yanga lideró una de las grandes rebeliones en la historia de América. Gaspar Yanga descendía de reyes y cerca del año 1570 él lidera una rebelión y se escapa de la esclavitud, empezando un palenque que sería conocido como el primer pueblo negro libre en las Américas. Y los españoles trataron de someter en muchas ocasiones a Gaspar Yanga y a sus hombres, pero fue mucha su resistencia que los españoles no tuvieron otra opción que firmar un tratado de paz. Y este tratado otorgó a Gaspar Yanga y su comunidad libertad y autonomía. Y el nombre de Yanga viene de los Ingas o los Incas.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.